Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. I'm back with another great topic. Now, today I'll be talking about Freddie Gibbs and is he currently a top 10 rapper right now? Now, this is a very difficult conversation or debate because trying to pick the top 10 rappers can be very difficult. And Freddie Gibbs is one of those rappers that's underrated and not talked about enough because he's not doing a bunch of appearances. He's not on social media like that. He doesn't have this great big following or has this big crossover appeal that most artists have. But his rapping ability and his skill set is very unique and it's very underrated. Now, there are a lot of underrated artists now because they only usually push maybe 3 or 4 artists per genre unless you're in like country music or pop or something like that where it's all over the place. But for the most part, R&B and hip hop, they only push about 4 artists at a time, and usually those are the same artists who put out projects every 3 or 4 years. So it's very difficult to get into that stratosphere for the most part. But we know the true artists, and Freddie Gibbs is definitely one of those. And over the past couple of years, I've become a fan of his music, especially around the COVID time when I had more time to listen to music. And he's one of those guys that I've gained respect for and started listening to their music more and starting to understand their craft. So it's over the last 5 years, I've became a fan of his music, but some of his projects, will stand the test of time, I believe. And he's not the most lyrical, but he has a way with words. So similar to, Kodak Black or Trick Daddy or even the Tupac, these artists were not lyrical, the most lyrical, but they had this relatability and you gain respect from them from the realism that they put out there. Just giving you perspectives into their lives, into the inner cities and the lives that they grew up in. So you always have to have respect for those artists because they still can tell a story like no other can. So it's not just about the lyricism, it's about how can you convey a message. And that's is a part of lyricism, being able to convey a message, not just being able to make big words or make words sound fancy, but it's also being able to convey a story to make it relatable to the person who didn't to the person that doesn't know that story. How can you tell it? Similar to a director or filmmaker, that's their job. But Freddie Gibbs haven't. He has solid projects. Soul separately is is my favorite project from him. But of course, he has Alfredo. You only die once, and then Alfredo 2 is coming out next week. I'm very excited for that one as well. So I'm pretty sure I'll do an album review of that when it comes out sometime in a couple of weeks. So, but the topic of discussion is he a top 10 rapper currently? So being the top 10 rapper currently, of course, this is my list. It's totally subjective. I spent pretty much days just thinking about this list, going back and forth. But I pretty much put the criteria to how active someone has been right now, how active the artists have been right now, um, and just rapping ability. And it's not based on sales. It's basically based on productivity and activity. So those two activities, I put them on. So of course, uh, this is no particular order, but just my top 10. So I have Kendrick Lamar. We know what he's done over the past year with his album and the singles that he's put out, especially last summer and the last fall, and the Super Bowl performance he's coming off. I have Pusha T and Malice in the top 10. Their recent project, Let God Have Sort Them Out, it's been amazing, even though they only put out about 12 or 13 songs in the past year. That's still pretty active to what most hip hop artists are doing right now. And their overall lyricism and just their history, I put them in the top 10. Tyler, the Creator, which he just released a project Monday, which I still have to go listen to. But what he's put out with the Hey Now remix, I'm That Dude, from the Kendrick Lamar cover, the albums that he put out last year as well. So he's been doing a lot of great work. He's a very underrated rapper because of the antics and things like that. But when you listen to him, he gets busy on the track. Lil Wayne, of course, the Carter Six was a disappointment for us Lil Wayne fans, but Lil Wayne still can rap. It just was the production and other things surrounding that album but he still had some good bars and still had good lyricism on there. And you always have to respect Wheezy for what he's done. He's still putting out music at a high clip. So I had to put him in the top 10. Benny the Butcher, I have him in my top 10. He just released Summertime Butch 2, which is an amazing album. I have a review coming for that pretty soon. So definitely stay tuned for that one. I have 21 Savage in my top 10, which is very different than the other artists. He's very lyrical, but just in a different way. He gets busy on the track, and the features that he's done and the ability that he's had just on features and his own projects, he's been very active. So I always put him in the top 10 for right now. Lotto, she hasn't been real active. She's been doing features and things like that, especially with Glorilla and other artists, but I just always appreciated her lyricism and what she's able to do. She's not just a pretty face. She actually takes this art form serious, and she actually gets busy. So definitely check her out. Doechii, artist I have to listen to more, but she's been very active, and with her accolades and awards she's won, have to put her in the top 10. She's part of that TDE tree. They've been putting out great products, even great byproducts with Kendrick Lamar, who's not TDE anymore, but he's still part of the family, still affiliated with them. So they've done great work. So I had to put Doechii in the front. And then lastly, I'll put Freddie Gibbs at that 10 spot, or in my top 10 rather, because it's not ranked. But I know a lot of people are going to say I left a lot of people out. But typically, I would have a Drake, a Nas, a Jay-Z, Cardi B, Doja Cat, but they haven't been really active lately. And I know you're saying Drake been active, but Drake has really not been active on the rap front. He's been active more on the R&B. The album, Some Sexy Songs for You with Party Next Door, was mostly an R&B geared album, so I didn't really count that. So I couldn't put Drake in the top 10. Now, all the time, I'll put him in the top 10, but my recent top 10, I can't put him in there just because of most of the singing part that he's been exhibiting lately. And I talked about this earlier. Putting the top 10 is difficult anyway, just because there's a lot of variables in place. You got to think about the activity and all of that. Now, if you're talking about all the time, that's a different story. My list will look totally different all the time. Freddie Gibbs wouldn't be in my top 10 all the time, of course, but for artists that's doing it right now, you have to give them that credibility. Because like Nas and Jay's been working on business features, ventures, and Cardi B's been working on her new album, but she's also been dealing with family stuff in the last couple of years, so she hasn't been as active as she wants. But she has that album that's releasing in September, so we'll see what that does. But no one can do the productivity of a NBA young boy, even though he's been incarcerated and dealing with different things over the past years. He puts out music at a clip that no one else can do, and you always have to appreciate him for doing that. Which I have to listen to his music as well. But Freddie Gibbs has always been an underrated artist, and he's a part of that CTE tree with Jeezy and others. And then he went solo and you know put out his own projects, and he put out these quality projects and quality music, and he just has this quality sound that you could tell he puts a lot of money and time and effort into it. And you definitely have to appreciate that, especially in these days when people just putting out um, pretty much sound like they're putting out anything nowadays just to get just living off their name. But he's actually putting the work in and actually building his brand and building his reputation like how it should be. When you listen to his album, you think that he's put sound like he put millions and millions of dollars into it. And then he has a very good skill set of rapping, very unique skill set as well. And he always appears to be humble and doesn't appear to be above the game and of the artistry, and which you always have to appreciate that, because there it has been seemed to be in decline in that right now. But I definitely have him as a top 10 rapper now, regardless of the sales or popularity. The art speaks for itself, and he always has great productions to match that quality of rapping that he does. So if you haven't checked out Freddie Gibbs, definitely check it out. And until next time, I'll see you next time.